This GeoGebra sketch was created to aid the teacher with teaching transformations of functions, or it can be assigned to a student or a group of students. I wouldn't suggest more than partners, along with a Google form I have created in which students can type and submit discoveries. On this side, we have all of our functions given to us. Over here, we have our slides that will control our parameters. The directions automatically are displayed just in case you decide to assign it to a student. But if you're using it as a teaching aid, the directions will not be necessary. So you can just click the button to make that disappear. So you will notice that the graph is blank. So depending on which transformations you're covering for the day, I am an Algebra 1 teacher, so I mostly deal with quadratic and linear transformations, which is why they're my top two functions. But if you are an Algebra 2 teacher, you will notice that you have several other functions available to you. I will show you the functionality of the GeoGebra sketch using quadratic functions. So I'm going to click on the function desired, which I want quadratics. You will notice that we have the vertex form displayed. So this would be my A, this would be my B, this would be my H, and this would be my K. The reason I do not have the parameters typed in is because I have them typed over here. So when I start the slide, I want the students to be able to notice where that number is being shown here. So where is this parameter A? I want them to be looking for it. So you will notice that your parameters are set to the default. A, B is 1, H and K is 0. So which is why it is coincident with the parent function x squared. You can click on the checkbox and it will change the parameter. As you can see, the parent function is stable the entire time. It will not move, and this way it makes it a little easier for students to see what the transformed quadratic function and how it compares to its parent. In order to stop the parameter from sliding, you can just click the checkbox again and it will stop. If you want to reset it, all you have to do is hit the reset button and it will change everything back to its default settings. So even if you decide to check all of them at the same time, which, you could, if you want to stop them, you would have to uncheck all of them and then hit the reset button, and voila, there you go. As a parameter is changing, you can have the student notice where this change happens, and we can see it happens inside the parentheses in front of the X, which are questions that are asked on the Google form if they are working individually. You can stop it, reset it if you'd like, there you go. If students need help, they have this help button over here, which you'll see I just made it go away. Sorry about that. You can click it, and depending on whatever parameter they are working with, they can click that button to help them out a little bit. So if they're working with parameter A, B, H, or K, it does not matter. It'll give them little hints on how to handle it or what to look for. Once they are done with that, they can just hit the help button again and it makes them all go away. So even if they pop it back up, they just have to click the parameter again that they need help with. One of the main reasons I like this part right here is because of this minus, and it has to do with parameter H. Right here, you can point this out to your kids and y'all can have a conversation as to why when we have a x plus h, it goes to the left, and when we have an x minus h, why it goes to the right. We can reset it. If you wanted to make this function go away, you would just hit the quadratic function again and it would go away. Now, if you notice, I can turn on multiple functions at the same time. The reason I wanted this to be allowed was because I wanted my students to see that it does not matter which function you have. So for example, one of the easier ones to see would be H. You can see the parent functions of all of them, and you can see that they move together. it does the same thing. It does not matter which function you have. As well as when you are playing these parameters for them, you can also point out the relevance in the formats. So even if I turn on the square root one, there you go, right there. Absolute value one, right there. Okay, stop, reset. Let's go ahead and turn these off. Square root function, linear, and quadratic. All right, just to briefly tell you about the explore button. Right here, I have automatically typed in 2 just so they can kind of get an idea of what they're supposed to do. Again, here's the directions where they could actually click it on their own and it tells them what they're supposed to do. For this part, you could even create a worksheet and where you can give your students functions already and they can type them in here and they can physically see, or not physically, visually see the transformation. Again, you can make that go away. And then right here we have help for the explore section. Again, just helping them look for the parameters for A, B, H, and K. So here, just so you can see, and you can type in, let's just do something easy, x squared, and then voila. You can even have it turn into somewhat of a mini game. So right here, you will see that this is in black. If they start changing the parameters, so right here, instead of using the sliders, you can also just type it in. So if they know that H is moving to the left a certain amount of units, they can just type in the -2. It moves left and it goes down 4. And then there you go. They started at the pink dash line and they managed to move it to the second line. Here, the possibilities are really endless. You can have fun with this. If you didn't like any of these tabs, you can go straight to the Explore tab. You don't have to use both inputs. You can just use one. You can type in your parent function here and then type in the function you desire here. Possibilities are endless. This is the Google form I created for my students. This is my actual email address. So if you would like for me to share a copy of this with you, I can. Just send me an email letting me know you want my transformations Google form. They would type in their first and last name. I went on ahead and filled this part out. These are just basics. You can see asking them what vertical and horizontal lines are, getting all their facts together. They would hit next. What function are you exploring? Ideally, we'd want them to work on one function at a time. So if they're working on quadratic function, and it would take them into the questions, they could type them in, and then at the end of this, they should be able to tell me what do parameters A affect on a function, or what effects does it have on a function, and they should be able to click their answers. And I even put to select make sure to select all that apply to parameter A. So yeah, and once you fill that in, it goes on to parameter B, H, and K, and then you submit it.